Well, I did it. I drove to the Apple store at daylight and I bought a batch of new iPhone 17s. Last week I made a video on whether you should upgrade to a new iPhone, and I'll include a link to that video in the description below. But if you've made the decision to buy a new iPhone 17, then the question is, which iPhone 17 should you buy? That's what this video is all about. Hi, my name is Rich, and I make easy to follow videos on how to use your iPhone and iPad, without going nuts. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, please consider subscribing. I can't believe how much this channel has grown, and thanks so much to everyone who has subscribed. So I bought the iPhone 17, the iPhone 17 Air, and the iPhone 17 Pro. And while I'll give you my thoughts on these phones, I'm not going to go over a bunch of specs and benchmarks and such. I'm sure there'll be a million YouTube videos that will cover that stuff. Besides, I just like to keep things simple and cover the things that are really more practical than anything else, especially for the bulk of users. So in today's video, I'll cover how the iPhone feels in your hand. That's kind of important since you hold it all the time. The screens, battery life, a little bit about that, the cameras on the phone, and then the aesthetic of each phone, the cost of each phone, and lastly, which phone might be for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, this is the iPhone 17. This is the base model. This is the new iPhone Air. By the way, it's not called iPhone 17 Air, it's just called iPhone Air. And then we've got the iPhone 17 Pro. But I just wanted to talk briefly about how they feel in your hand. I mean, you do carry these things around all the time, and if they're too big or they're too little, or they slide out of your hand, or they just don't feel comfortable, then it's probably not right for you. So the base iPhone is no different really than last year. It's about the same shape, the same size. Everything feels the same. It feels good in my hand. I like how it feels. It's kind of got the square sides on it still, so you can grip it and hold it. Again, for me, it's about the right size. The screen is about the right size. Everything seems to work. I think they've really sort of nailed it with the base model, and I like how it feels. But wow, do I love the new iPhone Air. So this thing, I don't know if you can see how thin that is. That is crazy. Just as a comparison, maybe you can see the difference between the two. But boy, does it really feel different in your hand. This iPhone is a gorgeous iPhone. I like the sort of the polished rails on the side. This is actually called light blue. Probably on the camera it looks white. It looks almost white to my eyes too, but there is a slight blue tint to it. But anyway, the phone feels great in your hand. It's not too bulky. Even though the screen size is bigger, it's substantially larger than the iPhone 17, but it just feels really good in your hand. I like very much how it feels. In fact, I've decided this is going to be my daily driver, the phone that I use regularly for a while. I can't hardly explain to you how light it feels. I've had it in my pocket for a good part of today, and it's like I don't even have a phone in my pocket. This phone is just really light, and it feels great. The iPhone Pro, as you might expect, is way heavier. This feels, I mean, when you hold this in one hand and this in the other, man, you can immediately tell the difference between them. This is a much heavier phone. It's got a different body to it this year. It's got an aluminum body. It was titanium last year. Somewhere in this extrusion, or however they make the case, they've kind of rounded the edges on it a little bit more, so it feels good in your hand too. I mean, all of these don't feel bad in your hand. They just feel different in your hand. But in any event, all of them feel pretty good. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about are the screens. The screens are all pretty much the same. The screens on the base iPhone and the iPhone Pro that I have here are 6.3-inch screens. The iPhone Air is a little bigger at 6.5 inches. All of them have the same brightness. They are all very bright. They all have what's called 3,000 nits of brightness outdoors. I've been outdoors with them. You can see them very good. They're actually a little bit better in my opinion than last year. But again, the screens are all somewhat similar to one another, so I don't think there's any distinguishing characteristics there. But they're all bright, gorgeous, beautiful screens. They do have what's called 120 ProMotion refresh rate. Not going to get into all of those kind of stats. Suffice it to say that as you scroll around, everything just looks smooth on all three phones. That was not on the base iPhone in the past. It was added this year. So now you've got sort of equality in all of these screens, but they're all gorgeous, every one of them. Next thing I want to talk about is battery life. Battery life on these things, I never can figure out how Apple does this. They put up on their website so many hours of video viewing, viewing videos on your iPhone. For example, the iPhone Pro has 33 hours of video viewing on that. The battery should allow you to do that. The Air is 27 hours. It's less than that, of course, and the base iPhone is 30 hours. But man, I'm going to tell you, I hope I never watch 33 hours of video at any one time. I don't know what to make of it. My typical use case is I get up in the morning, I grab the phone off the charger, and I use it all day, off and on, and then when I go to bed, I put it back on the charger. And not since early iPhones did I ever have any battery trouble. So my guess is, even though you've got a much bigger battery in the iPhone Pro than you do the iPhone Air, and even the base iPhone has more than the iPhone Air, regardless of which one of these you get, depending on your use. Now, I know you may have a use case that's a lot different than mine, but if you're like a typical user, which I think I am, then you're going to not have any trouble with battery life. I think they've all hit a point where the batteries just cover you all day. Next quick thing I want to talk to you about when trying to decide which iPhone to buy, and this may make a difference for you, is the camera setup. As I mentioned in an earlier video, it used to be that the iPhone was a phone with a camera attached, and now it's pretty much a camera with a phone attached. And you do get different setups on these phones. So the base, first of all of the phones have what's called a 48 megapixel fusion camera. That's a marketing term that Apple has put together, but it's a 48 megapixel lens. This one, and this one. But you get an ultra wide lens on the base iPhone, and you get an ultra wide and a telephoto lens on the Pro. So 3 lenses on the Pro, 2 lenses on the base, and just 1 lens on the iPhone Air. Now, if you're big into photography, that may make a difference for you, but I'll just be honest with you. I went back and looked at some photos that I took with my iPhone 7, which just had 1 lens in it, and that 1 lens was not as good as the 1 lens that's in this iPhone Air. And the photos were just great. Somewhere along the line, they just hit a level of quality to where I was satisfied with what I saw when I looked at the photos. But there's no doubt that if you need better photography, you need more options in the way you shoot videos and things like that, then the iPhone Pro is the way to go. But you still have a real bang for the buck on the base iPhone with 2 lenses. I did have time to play around with the iPhone 16e when it came out. It had a single lens on it, and it took great photos. I've been snapping away on these, and I can just tell you, at least from my old man eyes, the photos look great on any of these phones. But again, there's a big distinction between them, and part of the pricing goes along with the fact that you have better photography options between the various phones. All of these phones also have the same front-facing camera. They've got an 18 megapixel front-facing camera. So there's no distinction between the cheapest iPhone and the most expensive iPhone. They have exactly the same thing. A lot of people use the front-facing camera for FaceTime and things like that, but I've seen some YouTubers talking about getting great videos and great photos out of the front-facing camera. That was something that was never even an option before, but it is now. But again, they're all the same on each of these iPhones, so that shouldn't be a deciding factor for you when you're trying to figure out which one to buy. Let me talk a minute about the aesthetics of the iPhone, just the way they look and feel. So the base iPhone looks just about the same. This is the iPhone 17, and this base iPhone looks about the same to me as the iPhone 11. There's not a whole lot of difference between them. They're roughly the same size. They have roughly the same shape. The camera layout is different. They were sort of angled before, and now they're kind of straight up and down. But aesthetically speaking, I mean, it's a beautiful, simple, gorgeous Apple phone like all iPhones are. but there's nothing particularly exciting about the iPhone 7 to me, although I think it's a great phone. The iPhone Pro is something that's going to have to grow on me. We've gone from this kind of a little camera bump to this gigantic camera bump over here. And I'm not sure if I like that yet. The case is different. Here you have sort of a solid looking case. This is made from aluminum with a backing here that allows you to put a MagSafe charger on it. So now we've got kind of a distinction in the back, kind of a two-tone. I don't know if you can see that on camera. This is white, this is silver. And I guess, you know, it's an attractive phone. I mean, most of the time I'm not looking at the back of the phone, I'm looking at the screen. But you can probably tell from my voice that I'm really blown away by the iPhone Air, and I am. And I don't know if it's the lightness of it, I guess it is. This phone is just an absolutely gorgeous phone to me. We don't have anything like it. Nothing has ever been made that's this thin. I like the feel of the back on the iPhone. The camera bump, even though it's kind of long, it's not nearly as big as this. But right now, man, this one is a really attractive phone to me. And if you're unsure whether you would like this phone, you really need to go to an Apple store and take a look inside, or go to your phone store and just pick it up and take a look at it and see if it's something that you might like. Aesthetically speaking, this is one of the most beautiful phones I think that Apple has ever made. It is really that gorgeous. All right, let's talk a minute about the pricing, because that may make all the difference in the world. The base iPhone is $799, the iPhone Air is $999, and the iPhone Pro is $1,099. They are not cheap, and that may be the deciding factor on which phone you get, depending on how much money you have to spend or you want to spend on a phone. But again, you know, $800, $1,000, $1,100 for each one of these phones. Okay, and that just brings us to the final question of this whole video, which is, you know, which phone should you buy? Which one might be right for you? Well, you might be surprised to hear me say this, because I've been praising the iPhone Air, but I'm going to tell you, the base iPhone for $799, this is the bang for the buck in the iPhone lineup now. They've added so many pro features to this phone that were never there before. For example, the always-on display. This has better cameras than this has. This has better battery life than the iPhone Air. And there are a number of other features that this has that the iPhone Air doesn't have. And the bottom line is probably, if you're price sensitive, the base iPhone is the deal. The base iPhone is the real deal. If you're looking for something that's very unique and catchy and that nobody else has held in their hand before, then the iPhone Air could be for you. It certainly is for me for the time being. I love it. If you're a user that really wants to lean into their phone, use it for a lot of photography, you need a lot of battery life, then the iPhone Pro would be for you. And that's just kind of my quick take on these new phones that just came out today. I know that was a quick take, but I hope this show and tell gave you a little food for thought. iPhones are not cheap, so the best advice I could probably give you is to go to an Apple store near you or your phone store and pick up a few phones and fool around with them until you can make a decision that's right for you. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.